name is Mandana White and I'm the CEO of Smart Grid Forums. Welcome to the channel. Today I have with me Joel Greene, who's the Vice President at SISCO. SISCO are a system integrator working in the 61850 space. SISCO are also the gold sponsor at SGT25, which is taking place in March at The Hague Conference Centre in the Netherlands. So welcome, Joel. I'm delighted to have you on the channel today.
Morning, Mandana. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you again.
And you. So, Joel, we're going to talk today about an issue that is really top of mind and presenting a huge challenge for utilities everywhere, but particularly utilities in Europe. As you know, I've been conducting some research in the last few months, talking with utilities across Europe about some of the issues they want to address or want us to address at the next SGT25 conference. And one thing that's come up repeatedly and unanimously, more so than in previous years, is how challenging it is nowadays to upskill the workforce, the technical workforce who are being charged with the wider deployment of these new digital technologies and, specifically in the substation area, the adoption of 61850. So I know that SISCO have some new programs that you're going to be offering to utilities in the US and in Europe to help adoption of new processes, new technologies, and to help utilities senior managers actually kickstart those large-scale deployments that are really going to help us take the smart grid to the next level. So tell us a little bit about the scope of the training that you've put together and how it differs from other similar training in the market.
Absolutely. Thanks. This is a great conversation to have. I think it's a need. It's good to hear from you what people are saying. It's a need we feel is very real out there. Cisco's been in 61850 since before the standard was written. We've done training programs for years now, but we're seeing a need to develop that training program further and get further along with the evolution of the standard. What we've done, our value in a lot of ways is working with the standards group. I'm one of the editors of several parts of the 61850 standard. I'm the chair of the test procedure working group in UCA. So we invest heavily in the standards. We develop products and libraries using those standards, and we bring those to the customers at several layers. So the trainings we've done, a lot of device vendors learning how to implement the device. Now we're seeing more utility deployment because we're starting to see that large scale deployment. 61850, believe it or not, has been in the field for 25 years now.
Yeah.
A lot of it was considered science fair projects and advanced work and all that, and it's been a fascinating evolution and growth. But we're at the point now where to get it in the field, to really get it in production at the next level, takes a broader workforce. And 61850 is standardizes a lot of parts of how to design and describe power systems. We see a lot of people complaining that it's so complex. Well, power systems are complex. Everyone knows this. What 61850 does, and I'll talk a little bit about a couple of courses, but one of the things in my mind that it really does is standardize the ways, is provide standardized methods for doing the same things we've always had to do in the power system. So now instead of teaching someone your proprietary methods, your homegrown solutions, we can teach them standardized methods. And that's excellent for everybody involved. It means that you can hire people off the street that have some of these skills you need. It means that your workforce is more interested in learning the skills they need because you can see that it's a value to your skill set as a worker. And everyone knows how these systems work when the training's there. So yeah, there is a bit of a paradigm shift. You've got, in some cases, folks that used to use screwdrivers and multimeters are now having to learn how to do their jobs with a laptop. That's a jump, but it's something we can teach, and it engages those folks in really knowing something new. So the programs that we're putting together, we've done a lot for years and years with folks that are more invested in the standard, not as much as we are, but to a large degree, the early adopters, the first adopters. But now as we get to that next level of needing to get a larger workforce out there, we're working with some professional training development folks, putting a curriculum together that helps engage those younger workers in particular. And it also starts with the end in mind. So what we do is sit down with the utility to begin with and talk about what actual problems they're trying to solve, the particular things. We don't go into one of these to read off a script and just dump information at folks. We've got a video library subscription if that's good enough for what you, and there's a lot of cases where that is a value and we can do that. In the case where you need to bring a trainer in live with a group, you need to understand what the specifics are that are needed to train and be flexible. We need the people with the expertise in the room to be flexible to answer the specific questions that come along. And so that's the core of the value we bring in this program that we're improving quite a bit, because there's several layers of training that are needed. I do a course on the business case of 61850. So a lot of times the management level needs to know the why, and I can talk for days about it. 61850 makes business sense in so many ways, ways that I didn't even think of until I came across some case studies. It sounds like the folks you're talking to understand that. They get the business case for it, but in the case where we need some reinforcement, I can bring a lot of information in that. And then we have a layer of systems engineers. So the engineering folks that are doing the system designs, we train all that. That's a wide program. And then what we're seeing now more and more is needing to get into the technician level, the field worker level. And that takes a different set of skills, broader set, and a different approach to training. And this is where we're seeing a lot of folks that are resistant to getting that. When we get that message out there about the value it brings to them in the market and engaging them, we really see good results of that.
Yeah. Great. Well, that sounds really good, Joel. Yeah, that multi-layered approach is really valuable because, as you say, the majority of utilities in Europe, in any case, are adopting 61850, but there are still some people who've not fully made the financial case. So it's really great that you're doing the senior management training on 61850 so they understand the business proposition. And then for the designers, the more sort of in-depth, the in-depth training, and then for the day-to-day technicians, the simplified version. I think that's where there's a gap in the market. Exactly. The simplified version where you can train those technicians, have them hit the ground running, and then to provide a framework where you can continually reinforce the learning. Because one thing that I hear is that it's great when utilities have their staff trained either internally through their own training managers or through external providers such as yourselves. But what tends to happen is a great deal of knowledge transfer within a 2 to 3 day period. And then a month later, a lot of that is lost simply because the ongoing enforcement isn't there. So how are you dealing with the enforcement piece? Because that seems to be a really key motivator for utilities looking for new forms of training.
Yeah, I think you touched on two very important points there. First of all, we design job aids, so reference material that the attendees get to keep that are designed to help them with specific tasks, almost a checklist when going through certain things, and then build the training course around scenarios that let them use that methodology in a live action scenario there in the classroom. So that builds a lot of skill. It builds the confidence in learning that method, and they walk away with that reference material designed to be used on the job. The other critical point to all this is getting involved with those training people you mentioned. All of these organizations have training programs for other purposes. Their employees have to go through safety training and compliance training and all sorts of things. So they've got that training staff. So we can connect with those folks and work with those folks to get those training loads off the engineering managers and the workforce, and get that organizationally embedded there so they get that repetitive training. And also, some organizations find a value in having us come in, say, once a year on a regular basis and reinforce that with both groups. So it's very important to build that whole system. As I said, 61850 is about comprehensive standards to describe the whole system. Part of that is getting that training out so that everybody is on the same page with it ongoing.
Yeah. Excellent. That's really important, Joel, because obviously if you can motivate everyone in the organization, with the senior managers making the financial business case, the staff themselves in terms of, the workforce in terms of this is actually good for your career enhancement. This is a standard that's going to be used across the board. So wherever you move to in the future, this skill set is really important to your career development. That's a really positive message all around. And then for the managers who are so stretched, since COVID, I think people are doing a lot more with a lot less resource, many more projects to launch, much faster pace to go at. Those managers are overloaded. And so if you can really demonstrate to them that this is going to free up your time and get you a great return on your investment, then I think all facets of the utility organization are going to be highly motivated by this training. Definitely more hands-on training is what we're hearing about, not just the theory of 61850, but hands-on in our environment, not in a conceptual environment, but our environment. How does this training support us in our environment? And you're talking about customizing, pivoting in the classroom, and then reinforcing. So all of those are really, really powerful messages.
Exactly. Like I said, it starts with having the conversation with them to understand and put goals behind their specific training program of what their folks need to learn. That's where it starts, is to have that conversation and align on what they need. Exactly.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to your presentation at SG Tech. Give us a little glimpse into what that's going to cover. What can people expect from your session at SG Tech in March?
Certainly, we've got a lot of ground to cover there, but one of the things we're going to talk about is a little more detail on the training program. It's like, as I mentioned, we're in the process of adding a lot to that at the moment, so we'll go through that a bit more. We've got our product lines. I want to talk a little bit about our centralized remedial action scheme. I know you've heard me speak about that at past SG Tech events. That's a fantastic program that we need to get a few more folks aware of. And the other thing, of course, is our partnership with SPE. We've got a new SPE's a firm in the EU that builds substations and other equipment. They do ground moving and concrete pouring, steel work, and electrical systems. And they have determined that in order to build turnkey substations, they need 61850. That's where the world's at right now. It's required. So they're building up a center of expertise in 61850. We're partnering with them to supply our products, services, and solutions, including training into the EU. It's a fantastic partnership. I think it's great for both of us, and we look forward to being able to have more reach in Europe with all those services.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to hearing about all of that, the training, the wider solutions that you're offering, and certainly your partnership with SPE is an exciting new development. Joel, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your support as gold sponsor of SG Tech. We look forward to your session and to meeting your team on site in March. Have a really good day.
Look forward to seeing you there.